So now we have our assumptions for our mini P&L. What we can now do is build out just the basic profit and loss around this. And you know, just to remind us that the profit and loss, basically profits equals revenues minus costs. So what we need to do here is take our assumptions and just build a basic P&L. Now you can also download, there's a spreadsheet that I've created for you where you can download and actually play around with some of these assumptions and change the variables, and actually it goes into a bit more detail in this. But the basic P&L for us is going to be the number of subscribers, and I think the best way to do this is just to take year one as an entity. So I'm not going to break this down into a monthly. So I'm going to say during our first year, we acquired 1.25 million subscribers to our DVD service. So we now need to net out churn, and remember churn was the number of cancellations, and we assumed that this was 2% per month. Since we're doing a year, we'll times this by 12, and let's kind of just round this up to 25%. Again, using round figures, if we take 25% off of the gross number of subscribers, so if we take our churn figure off here to be 25%, the net number of subscribers we end up with is going to be approximately 1 million. And again, these figures aren't exact. You can see those in the spreadsheet, but they're enough to explain how to create this this prototype. So the next thing we're going to want, just so this becomes easy to work out, is the number of DVDs rented per year by these million subscribers. And our assumption, this is kind of our assumption column here. Our assumption here was the average user rented 2 DVDs per month. So over the course of a year, that would be 2 times 12 equals 24 DVDs per user. I'm just going to round this up to 25, so it makes the math kind of easier. So what we're now saying is if we have 25 DVDs rented per user per year and we have 1 million users, that's 25 million DVDs are rented as part of our prototype. So we can kind of draw a line around that. Now we can start adding some revenue, some dollars around this. So our revenue is based just around user subscriptions. And we already know this figure here is going to equal our net figure. We're going to take the 1 million times. Now earlier on the previous screen, we said that the average subscription was $10 per month. Again, we're working in a year here, so let's take that up to, that's 10 times, that's better. That's $120 per year per subscriber. So 1 million times 120. Our revenues from subscriptions each in our first year would be $120 million. Now that's a lot of money, so obviously, you know, that would be lower if some of our assumptions were different. The primary driver here is the number of subscribers. That might be ambitious for year one, but we'll leave it in here. So that's our revenues. Our cost structure is, first of all, we have the kind of the distribution and operation part to the cost. And what we assumed here, that each DVD costs $1 to kind of store and then mail out and return. So if we assume that $1 times the 25 million DVDs we rent each year, that then gives us a cost of $25 million. Next thing we need to do is pay the royalties to the film companies for renting their DVDs. Our assumption here was it was $2 per DVD. Once again, we've rented 25 million in this year, so this item equals 50 million. Our technology costs, we assumed that this seems a bit low, but we'll just leave it in here. To get our platform up and running was going to be $250,000. So that goes in there. And our marketing, now this was the cost for us to market and go out and acquire a user. And the assumption here was it was going to cost $25 for every user we acquired. So this would be through online marketing, TV ads, and so on. So if we assume it's $25 per user to acquire, that is $25 times our gross number of subscribers, because even though we lost them, we still had to pay for them. You know, we lost 25%. We still had to pay for the whole figure, so that's 25 times 1.5 million, and I think my math is correct if I say that's, I think that's correct there. So that brings our total costs to, I quickly add this up, 10625. So let's try and, all right, so these are the important parts now. We've got, here we've got our revenues of 120 million. We've got our costs of 106 million. So in our first year, our net, or our earnings before interest and tax are going to be $13 million. So what we've done here is it's not so much, the relevance isn't so much the figures we get here. The relevance now is we know what we can go back and test against our assumptions. So is, let me just change color here. Is this assumption good? So if we change this to say $2 in our spreadsheet, that will have a ripple effect that will go back down here and would actually double this, wouldn't it? It would call this 50 million if we change that one, and it would take an additional 25 million off of here, which would equal, what does that come to? If we got 13.5, I think minus 50 plus 50, it's minus 25, isn't it? I think if my math's correct, if my math is correct, that means our revenue, our net for the first year would actually be a loss of 11 million. So you can see here by going back and actually validating some of these assumptions and changing any of these, we could change any one or all of these. It's all going to go back and change our mini P&L. So these we could change here, obviously the number of subscribers. So this gives us a very good way to start prototyping this this concept we've got. And when we actually get to the next stage of prototyping, we'll go back and we'll experiment around these assumptions.